Hey everyone, and welcome back to another King Arthur Legends Rise video. So, guys, we got a patch with stuff to do, so that's really good. They released a new hero, Brennan, which, if you've seen any of the videos by the other content creators, he does switch things up a bit, which is really cool, especially from a PvP perspective. However, he is actually quite good in PvE as well, so that's great. On top of that, they did buff Gilroy, which I don't know if it's going to be enough, but he certainly needed it because he was, I think, the worst legendary for sure. Yeah, like I don't even think it was close. There are other bad legendaries, but he was by far the worst one. They're also doing a bunch of. This is kind of like a new event, which is powering up the hero. The problem is with this, I'm pretty sure he needs to be fully maxed. Like with his relics, he needs to be awakened. The relic needs to be fully awakened. And if that doesn't happen, you can't get the additional copy. But getting another copy of him is actually really neat as a reward, because then it increases his chivalry. They also have a mission event where you have to use him in a Aldry team, where he does have a leader effect, all of those things. You get some decent rewards here. Tomes, things to help awaken his relic, so it kind of ties into the power-up event. And then they're doing your standard boilerplate, stamina, arena, and Gorgos event. One of the cool things about this is it does overlap with the Prankster gift box. These don't really have like great items in them, but at the same time, if you're overlapping and double dipping on rewards, that's always great. So let's check out the new hero. We're going to see what he does. I already pulled him, and I leveled up some of his stuff, but we can check out his chivalries, and then we're also going to take a look at the new buff on Gilroy and his chivalries, because they changed his chivalries as well to go along with his buff. All right, so when you summon Brennan, he comes as a baseline Storm Relic hero, which is good because he does have that leader skill for... this is an all allies skill, actually. And then Bull's Favor gets additional 5%. The other Bull's Favor heroes aren't very good. The best one, I think, is probably Lot in the legendary slot, and then you also have Arthur, which is probably your better damage dealer. However, with the buffs to Gilroy, he could potentially be a harder hitting damage dealer in the Storm category other than Arthur, but I think they kind of just play well together because Arthur's passive buffs are so good. So this leader skill ability, I think, is going to be really good for Forbidden Dungeon Hard. I think pairing him with like a lot to do a lot of control, and then maybe you can use Gilroy or Gawain for just AoE chip damage here and there. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's his leader skill. Now his passives. So his baseline passive says when he attacks, he grants defense increase 2 to Bull's favorite allies for 2 turns. This is on a 2-turn cooldown. So if you have it skilled up like me, you can eventually have defense increase up the entire time, which is nice because, spoiler, his abilities actually scale off of attack and defense. So that's pretty neat. This passive is very good. At the start of battle, it grants all allies a barrier, which blocks 3 attacks, and then I have it skilled up to 2 turns. It's baseline 1 turn. But you can skill this up to have it be a 5-hit barrier. This is, for sure, the game changer in Arena. Even at 3 attacks, it is still good. But at 5 attacks, it's very, very strong. There's a lot of heroes in this game that do 3 attacks. Like if we look at Irit, which is one of the stronger characters, she has a 3-hitter on her ice relic, her frost relic, and then she does that big hit with the black magic overload. So if your Brennan only has the barrier of 3 attacks, the Irit still might be able to kill one of your damage dealers. But if you have this skilled up to where it's blocking 5 attacks, this is just huge. This really does change the arena meta, certainly on PvP defense. On offense, I don't think. Man, it's just so weird because the defense changes. People are not going to be running Anya anymore. It's going to be a much slower meta. I actually kind of feel the higher end players are going to end up hating Brennan because it's just going to slow down the amount of times they play arena, because it's gonna be kind of a stall. We'll get to that later. All right, and then his third passive says, upon being hit while he has a barrier, does an AoE attack. And like I said, this scales off of attack and defense, and then it also has a 50% chance to inflict recovery disruption. This is really good in comparison to pair with Gilroy, and we'll talk about that for a second. So passive 3, it's good, to have the ability to do this attack for okay multiplier, 150% total. He is going to be harder to build because he needs attack, defense, he needs effect accuracy, all of those things. He needs sustain with health. I really don't think you're going to be building him as a damage dealer. I think he's just going to be there for support with some nice debuffs here and there with the recovery disruption. So when it comes to his relics, his third skill actually does take off 10% of his max HP. It's an AoE double hitter for okay multiplier, and then it says 100% chance for the last hit to inflict recovery disruption for 2 turns. Again, I really don't think you're going to be building him in damage. The gear that I slapped on him, I think, has a little bit of damage, but I will certainly change that in the future. It's just for this video. His skill 2 is it attacks one enemy, and then it taunts someone for 2 turns. This is very strong. This is very, very good. Him being a taunter, as well as then putting up a barrier on himself to then trigger the AoE, this is a very, very good. This is just a well-designed character. I really like this character because we didn't have anything like this before, so that's really nice. On top of that, he also gives the barrier of a 2-hit block, a 2-hit barrier to the lowest HP ally, which is most likely when you start the match, it's going to be your highest attack character. Your Bedivirs, your Irits, whatever. So yeah, this is the skill that you're going to be using most because it's control while you also put up the barrier on yourself, and then it pairs well with that passive 3, like I said. So this is like a fantastic, fantastic hero so far. And then this ability has a 50% chance to just put up the recovery disruption. This is a nice skill 1, especially if you're going to use this hero in a PvE setting with Aldry. You can put him in a Vigor set. He's doing the recovery disruption for you. He's getting the job done, right? You put up the barrier at the beginning, and then it all goes from there. Now, his other relics, they actually are quite interesting. So he also has a taunt and recovery disruption on his skill 2 for his frost instead of the barrier, but on his skill 3 for his frost, he puts up a 3-block barrier, which can be skilled up to 5 on him and the lowest HP hero, and then it increases the taunt for two turns. This is a super strong skill. If you're pairing him with Nico, where you just have unlimited vigor, this is a really, really killer skill. His fire relic does taunt for 2 turns and then puts up healing decay, which is 100%. I don't like how they put this on this relic, because the healing decay, in my opinion, is really only worth it whenever you're going against Aldry for newer players. And to pair with Gilroy, I do think that there's going to be some mixing and matching along the lines now here with like Forbidden Dungeon Hard with him and Gilroy, if you have them built up. The people who have them built up are just whales right now, but it might be something to strive for. His skill 2, though, I really like this. This is an AoE, but then it grants all allies a barrier with a 2-block counter on it. So if you just spam this thing, right? Spamming this and just having a constant barrier up, man, this is super toxic. So this is the skill that I think you can be using with the Fire Relic. So yeah, like I said, how I have him built right now, it's not how you should build him. I'm just all over the map. I've got some health, I've got some defense, so he's pretty tanky, but the effect accuracy is way too low. This is not how you want to build him. But that is his total kit. Now, when it comes to his chivalries, he's actually the first character that has all of the like skill enhancements on the left side. Other than his Chivalry 2, there is no like Chivalry 8, where you usually see this on other characters. It's just all stat gain. So it's very interesting, but he gets a lot of effect accuracy on his Chivalries. So, at least on the right side. But let's talk about his Chivalries here. So boost morale, this is his passive 1. So instead of just granting defense increase to all Bull's favorite allies, he then also grants effect accuracy increase. This is very good. And for the first turn, he'll grant himself and everyone, actually it's just him, ignore resistance. This is huge for a couple reasons. One, you want to apply that taunt for 100%, but you won't get the effect accuracy increase boost until you attack based on boost morale. So now if you start with ignore resistance, at least, is that... Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, this is still when you attack. So still not as good. Because once you get the effect accuracy increase, I don't know why you would need the ignore resistance. But still, this is a really nice boost. If you have other Bull's favorite allies that want to put up a debuff, you can have Brennan go first, put up the ignore resistance buff on them, and then they just land whatever they want. So it's a good Chivalry 1. Chivalry 2 is just defense, give them more boost. This I really like. So his third passive then becomes whenever he's hit while he's in possession of a barrier, he'll inflict the taunt. Well, he'll inflict the recovery disruption at a 50% clip. And then he also has a 60% chance to inflict taunt on somebody. That is really good. So now you're adding a little bit of control in his third passive, and it really incentivizes you to keep up that barrier. So that is a good skill, Chivalry 3. I still think the Chivalry 1 outpaces it a little bit just because it's 60%. So his Chivalry 4 changes the recovery disruption to healing decay. This is really nice when it comes to pairing him with Gilroy, but I don't think this is that important. I still don't think Gilroy is going to be great. All right, then Chivalry 5 says after an ally attacks, it attacks one more time with Skill 2. So Skill 2 on his current relic is the taunt and the barrier. So he's going to give himself a barrier if, like, once this runs out. These chivalries are all really good, and I like how they're all just on the left side. So you only need him Chivalry 5 to unlock all of his passives, and then this stuff is just gravy. So I really like what they did with this character. It's very, very good. We'll showcase him here in a second. But I do want to go over Gilroy's changes. What Gilroy did before, we literally, I honestly don't even think that we need to go over it because he was just so bad. So we're just going to review him as he is now. He did get a big buff to his Storm Relic. This is the thing that matters. So they added this line of text. So if the target has recovery disruption, this was here already, it dealt additional damage with this multiplier, which was very high. Now, he also gets this added line of text where this attack, which is a high multiplier, ignores 15% of the target's defense. This is really good. This is really, really good. You know, the funny thing is we were kind of lacking hard-hitting, Storm Relic heroes. However, this is still conditional, which is what what limits it. If you are pairing him, though, with Brennan, I think they could make a pretty good pair in Arena, certainly Clan War, and maybe even Forbidden Dungeon Hard. I don't know, because I haven't really pushed too hard in Forbidden Dungeon Hard. I don't know if there's enemies or waves where they just do a bunch of healing. That might be where they come in. So yeah, this is a really great ability. They might have, buffed some things up here as well, but again, I'm not really going to go over that. I'm going to go over the changes that are pretty big. So they also increase this here, where on his first passive, he now has the ability to gain critical strike damage increase 2. So this is him specifically. It's kind of like Arthur's passive. So Arthur's passive is very similar to this, except he gets critical. Oh no, he also gets critical strike damage too, but that's at the beginning of battle, where Gilroy, I believe he needs to attack. Yeah, whenever he uses his skill. So he's also giving him that boost, which is nice. This books down to a 3-turn cooldown. So yeah, I think that was it there. Here, they bumped this cooldown up, but on his chivalries, I think they increased the amount of uses. Oh yeah, so this has an amount of uses of 4 turns, but if you have him chivalried, which I do, that's whenever this is unlimited, which is big. The problem is with this being on a 3-turn cooldown and then healing decay being on a 2-turn cooldown, it's still going to miss some timing. So I'm still undecided on this. Okay, so this is what his new chivalries did. They added the critical strike damage increase. They changed this. I think it was like effect resistance, and they changed it to attack percentage, which was good. So his chivalry 3 was the big one, where they changed this enduring mark. The number of uses is unlimited. It ignores the target's effect resistance, so now you don't really have to build him with any effect accuracy, which is amazing. And they also added this 100% chance to inflict defense decrease 1 on the target for 2 turns. So now he's adding some damage amplification as well. It's only when he uses, it's only on his passive 3, which again, they bumped up to a 3-turn cooldown, which I do not like. But maybe he was too good in practice, I don't know. So Merciless Sadist, this gets reduced by a cooldown of 3 turns. So whenever this is skilled up, anytime he attempts to inflict the recovery disruption, which on his passive 3 now ignores resistance, he'll charge his vigor by +1. I don't know if he'll need this just because Nika's in the game, and this is a cooldown of 1 turn. But if you have it skilled up, he charges his vigor by 2, which means you'll be able to use him more effectively without Nika for the people that don't have Nika. So that's good. For his Chivalry 5, I don't know if they changed this at all. Chivalry 6, I know they just increased the attack. Chivalry 8 also changed. So this used to be just doing an additional damage of 50% attack. They now added, whenever he's attacking, it's a 100% chance to charge all allies' attack gauge by 10% if the target has recovery disruption. So this is just a full attack gauge boost of 10%. This is a much stronger Chivalry 8 now. Much, much stronger. So this is pretty good. So yeah, his changes were needed. I still don't know if it makes a difference. They did also give him a different leader skill. This used to be like effect accuracy, but now they changed it to attack percentage in Arena, Frozen Plain, and Clan War. So this is pretty nice. Yeah, all good changes. So I'm really pleased with this patch. The other big news out of this game is the fact that they said they're going to announce a roadmap. This was in a dev note that they came out with, which is really good. So the roadmap is coming. They needed this. They really needed to let players know what was upcoming, because we literally had 6 weeks of nothing. So nothing to go off of, nothing to be excited about. So I'm really glad that they put this together. Truly needed it. But yeah, guys, that's the update for the game. Maybe we'll make some content on the events here. You know, maybe we'll showcase Brennan in a couple videos in the future. Once I get him fine-tuned, we can pair him with some people, and yeah, we'll go from there. But I hope you guys are excited. I am. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.